Welcome, everybody. This is the Soul Path Community January 2025 forecast. We're coming into this new year, which is meant to be one of the major turning point years of any time period. We have so many planetary changes this year that it's like we're coming into a whole new world. And January, we don't have anything major happening, so we're just coming into the first month of the calendar year, which, in our culture is considered an important time period, right? We can also say that the Aries ingress in March is astrologically the beginning of the year. But for many of us, this is the way we're attuned to be thinking, oh, what do I want to do in 2025? Now, here you have the ephemeris that gives you all the information you can come back to as you're planning events. Always good to look at the moons and try to avoid scheduling anything really important on a void of course moon. But over here, we have the major shifts of this month, and we start out the month with several personal planet movements into new signs. So Venus will move into Pisces. Mars goes into Cancer. It's still retrograde though. And Mercury will come into Capricorn. Now here's the first big change of the year, which is that the lunar nodes, which have been in Aries and Libra for the last year and a half, they're moving around January 12th into Pisces and Virgo. Now, I use the true nodes. Many people use the mean nodes, which is the average. And so that will be different if people, do that. And I say that, and if you've been following me on the community, I've been talking about the using the ephemeris, and that I don't have IO Edition anymore, but I found the IO Edition ephemeris pages on Cafe Astrology. And I am just looking at this and thinking, no, okay, I was thinking because it's just kind of moving fairly straight, that maybe this was actually the mean nodes, but I'm getting used to this format. There's a couple of things about it that are different, but here it even says here at the top, it's the true nodes. So there, we know that. And so that is accurate, that's when it's moving. The other things you'll notice that are different about this ephemeris is that the ephemeris is in Eastern time. So that hung me up last night when I was running charts, because I'm so used to having it in Pacific time for me personally with my own software that I didn't realize it at first. But then the moons weren't turning out correctly. So this is in East Coast time. And you'll also see that it's in standard time for the whole year, which means once we go into daylight savings, I'm going to have to pay attention to that and, alter it by an hour. So much for, the software, but I'm really glad that many of you commented that you really like this format of an ephemeris. I feel like it's very clean and neat and easy to read. Now, the first full moon of the year will be at 24 degrees Cancer, and the new moon that we have this month is at 10 degrees of Aquarius. The sun will have, moved into Aquarius on January 19th, as it does Mercury into Aquarius before the new moon. And, we'll look at the moons exactly as well. The other change here is we've got Uranus stationing direct at the end of the month on January 30th. So it has been hanging out seemingly endlessly in Taurus. And this year, it's one of the major planets that moves into a new sign. Here is our full moon for January 13th at 5:27 p.m. in East Coast time. And you can see that we have Pluto fairly close out of sign, but we also have Mars conjunct the moon in Cancer. This is pretty intense. We've been having Mars opposite Pluto, whether it's in sign or out of sign, since mid-October. And we see and feel the violence and aggression and wars and intensity that is all around us. If we pull into this and try to be connected to it in a positive way, what we're looking at is Pluto, the ability to transform, wound, and challenge and things that are corrupt into something powerful and honest and true. And it's been in Capricorn where we're talking about big structures and things we're building for the long term. And now, of course, for the next 20 years, it's in Aquarius. And we're looking at the transformation of progress. What does that look like? What does revolution look like? Awakening, spirituality at that high level of, like Zen kind of processes of understanding the illusion of the world. And then the Mars is all about will, desire, action, making things happen, going for it, having a certain sense of life force and vitality. Just that ability to be at a very, very high level. And the thing that matches them is they both tend to trigger or activate processes of anger, frustration, rage. Mars is a much faster vibration that way. It's more, a burst of fire where you're just furious and you express it in some way. It could be exercise or anything physical or yelling, but then it's done. Whereas Pluto is much more of a slow burn. It's a rage that's deep. It can go into revenge and processes of control, manipulation, power issues. So you get these two polarities pulling opposite each other. You have an incredible amount of firepower to accomplish something and get something done, but you have to have them work together. And if you're feeling that kind of rage and anger, it's because you're frustrated from achieving your goals. And then you really need to look at what is it that is harming you from your goals and how can you work with it in a healthy, intelligent way. And of course, the reason that I'm talking at such length about this opposition of Mars and Pluto is that it is conjoined to that full moon. Now, we remember with a full moon that it indicates some level of culmination or completion. And that can be that we're midway, we're on a plateau, we've accomplished something, and we're now sort of standing and looking at it and getting ready to go the whole distance and really finish at another level. Or it can indicate that we are finishing and it's done. Something it can be a small thing that started a couple of weeks before on the new moon, and the new moon is happening at the end of December at 9 degrees of Capricorn. So that's on a small week to week level. That is the launching new moon. But this completion new moon or completion full moon will ask us to look at where we need to let go of any level of emotional Cancerian energy that is not serving us. Where can we see that we're moody, overly emotional, overly trapped in family patterns? And where can we evolve into the higher expression of Moon in Cancer, where we are deeply connected to the heart, where we are nurturing to ourselves and others, and where we're enjoying whatever it is that we're creating around emotional sustenance and family vibration, which family is, obviously birth family, and we have to figure out what we're doing with that, whether it really is a great family that we love and appreciate, or whether it's a family that's got more challenges and we have to set deeper levels of boundaries. And coming into that level of the boundaries, we have the sun in Capricorn. So the sun is where the light is shining, where the choices are. And in a full moon, we're meant to be paying a little more attention to that polarity. So we've got the new moon that launches Capricorn principles at the end of December. So what are you building? What's worth your long-term effort? What boundaries do you need to set? Where do you need to get serious and mature? Where do you need to accept the fact that you are developing a sense of self and self-reliance, and maybe that feels a little lonely sometimes? And how can you pay attention to doing the work that's needed, that's sometimes hard to accomplish goals? And how can you avoid the traps of overwork? And so we come then into this full moon mid-January, where we're still focusing on the goals and the accomplishment of Capricorn. And we have Mercury about a week into Capricorn at that point. And so we're thinking a lot about the goals and what the big plan is. What is the great work that we're here to do? How are we going to accomplish it over this year? And yet we're looking at balance and how do we take action, Mars, to bring about more nurturing and healing for ourselves and enjoy what might be, considered more of our personal life in some way, the Cancerian side of things. And, what does this all mean that we have, Capricorn leading us into this bigger picture of what matters. And of course, this is all going to be personal for you in your chart, right? Where's Cancerian energy in your chart? Where's Capricorn? And where is Aquarius? Because right now in the month and in the whole year, Pluto will be in the first few degrees of Aquarius. Getting ready for my January 5th workshop on the astrology of the year and tracking the outer planets, I've seen that Pluto will go about 4 degrees over the year. So very small movement. Pluto has already been edging in the first couple of degrees since May of 2023. And this year is a very tight little movement of the transit. I often think of Pluto as the steamroller in the cartoons and, kind of rolling over Bugs Bunny and then coming back, and Bugs Bunny lifts his head, and the steamroller comes back again. I still remember that picture. I don't know why we we love that kind of stuff for little kids. Anyway, that's Pluto. You're just getting steamrolled in that area of 0 to 4 degrees of Aquarius this whole year. This is your personal area of intense, focused investigation. What does this mean for you? What does Aquarian energy in this spot mean? And so this will be part of the inner dialogue that's happening around this full moon. Now, I'm looking to see if there's anything that is, aspecting the full moon. And of course, here we have Chiron in Aries, which is forming a square to it. So in order to find this balance between accomplishment and boundaries and love, heart, and family, we have to come into Chiron's message as the great healing archetype that says, you may feel like you can't do what you want, that you can't evoke Aries principles, and see the connection to Mars here, Mars, the ruler of Aries. So there's some wound here that's erroneous. There's a sense that you can't do what you want, you don't have enough life force and vitality, you can't start something, and yet if you go deep and look at yourself honestly, you'll see the possibilities, the potentials, the way you have already done what you wanted to do, and or opportunities that were missed where you could have. And as you unwind that chironic wound, something about Aries becomes something you can give to others. You can be a teacher or a healer of this, but certainly you can embody it for yourself. You can bring this Aries energy in and give yourself this message, and from there be able to find the balance between accomplishment and the heart. Now, I always love to refer to T-squares like this as a three-legged table, and sometimes focusing on the missing table leg is a way to cultivate the medicine to heal something. So I would invite you also to look across at what's going on in your chart, what house it's in, what area it's in, that 20-ish degree of Libra asks you to bring in harmony, balance, peace, justice, and your best relationship skills. Now, as you cultivate and consider what that would be, what would be balanced. Libra's a mental sign, right? It's an intellectual air sign. So here we bring thought in. We have the cardinal action of Capricorn. We have the cardinal heart of Cancer. And we've got, cardinal action of Aries to go for it. And here we think about things and we say, what would the choices be that would bring about peace, harmony, and balance to this construct? So the whole cardinal cross works together. Now, as I said, the nodes have moved. Remember, the nodes move backwards, counterclockwise. Actually, I guess if you're calling it it's clockwise in the way that it looks on the chart. So here we have 29 degrees of Pisces. It's moving toward Neptune. There's going to be an exact conjunction of Neptune pretty soon. My guess is that will be probably in February. And the North Node, remember, is what we're activating, what we're evolving into, what is getting kind of the cosmic intention energy. So that means surrender, trust, spirituality, compassion, development of your intuition, development of transcendent creativity that touches your soul. That can be as simple as needlepoint and knitting. It can be looking at art that inspires you, films, great literature. Keep that in mind for the next year and a half. That's a necessary part of all of our spiritual paths. And we've had Neptune already in Pisces since 2011. It's another planet that changes signs this year, goes into Aries, but first it's going to very much activate this North Node. At the same time, Saturn has been in Pisces since March of 2023, and it's activating the accomplishment process around Pisces. It's activating us to be serious, mature, and disciplined. And as we're in this full moon, we have a very nice conjunction of Saturn and Venus. And I say very nice. A lot of people don't think of nice or positive words related to Saturn. But Saturn is only difficult when we resist it, when we resist doing the work, when we resist being serious. And to have Saturn and Venus together in Pisces can bring us into a sense of working in a disciplined, deep, purposeful way around our relationships and our resources. I would say this whole piece here with the North Node, Neptune, Saturn, and Venus in Pisces is excellent for manifestation. So this will be a great full moon to do a manifestation process. Now, usually with the new moons, what we do, and so think about that for the end of this month, where we have the new moon in Capricorn, writing a list, a manifestation list, where we write in present tense form, I have this, I have that, I have love, I have abundance, I have sacred sense of life, all the things that you wish for yourself. And in the full moon, the manifestation tends to be about the letting go. I release, I release. So whatever you wish to release, and it's usually a good idea to safely burn that paper. So think about that, especially with this potent full moon. Remember, Uranus is pretty much stationed at the end of the month. It's going to go forward. So pay attention to its messages as it's in a very tight trine with this full moon. So it's in a trine sextile, and that gives its message, which is break free from your stuck patterns, awaken to what gives you security and stability and safety. Let that message of what still remains, what have you been getting the message to let go of that you haven't let go of yet, and have that feed into the accomplishment energy, the light, the sun in Capricorn, and whatever it is you need to release around emotion that doesn't work for you anymore in the way that it connects to the Mars and the moon. The other planetary thing to pay attention to in this month is that we still have Jupiter in Gemini. It is retrograde. Jupiter seeking truth, meaning of life, expansion principles. Where can we go for more? Evolve ourselves into a greater expression, trust that we can have more. And in Gemini, it has a lot to do with information, what we're learning, and how we're synthesizing what we're learning. So I encourage you to look at that. This will be a great, beginning month to think about what is it you have been learning? What do you need to accomplish your goals? And I know many of you are, signing up for my classes. I'm so appreciative of that. I'm really trying to have this year be a year that if you've been in my program doing the Soul Path School Evolutionary Astrology classes, that you should be able to get all or most of it done this year. So I've set the schedule so that it's very, very clear as much as I'm able, working around my travel schedule. So that is pretty much what this full moon brings us. And then we will come into the new moon, which occurs on January 29th, 7:36 a.m. Eastern. And it is at 9 degrees 51 minutes. We'll round that up to 10 degrees of Aquarius. And you can see that this is a pretty strong Aquarius stellium with Mercury and Pluto. We can expect some changes, some shocks, some stuff that happens that's new and different. And we can see that it is in a trine with that Jupiter in Gemini. So there's this expansion principle around beliefs, truth, and meaning, with lots of ideas kicking around. Maybe all the ideas aren't fully formed. Obviously, this can be global, that there can be, some new ideas that are forming and launching and initiating with this new moon, but also very much look at your own chart and where this is occurring in your chart. Because the Pluto work you've been doing, again, since 2023, what you have been thinking about that would be new and freeing for you. How can you be more authentic? That's really mid-positive, aspirational energy for Aquarius. Is always to ask, how can I be more authentic? How can I be more truly myself? Give up image, what I think other people want, what I think the society demands of me, and just be my own self. And then you can go up from there into spirituality and say, how can I be enlightened, awakened, totally free? Get yourself on your meditation mat and standard, Vipassana or Zen meditation. Look at the wall, look at a candle, breathe. That's where you come into the Aquarius at the higher levels, and you can be in life without reaction. And then if you're unsettled and chaotic and your nervous system is frazzled, you know that you need to take better care of yourself on an Aquarian level. And this takes us to, I think, Taurus, especially taking care of the body, realizing you're a human animal and you need nature and the ground and good food and earth and to get away from all the electricity. And maybe you need the opposite medicine, which is Leo, which is a little bit more playfulness, a little more creativity, lightness. And you might even want to go to Scorpio and see, what is that about? How do I go deeper? How do I see the patterns I have that are holding me back and transform and transmute that into real power? So this new moon brings about a lot of questions and certainly the potential to surprisingly change whatever is in the first 10 degrees or so of Aquarius in your chart. Now, of course, the nodes are, continuing to move. By the end of the month, 28 degrees of Pisces for the North Node, and a pile up here of Piscean energy, Saturn, Venus, Neptune. So Venus representing relationship and the stabilization of relationships and resources. Neptune, high love, and all that it embodies with compassion, intuition, spirituality, and Saturn getting real, getting serious. This is very, very potent spiritual energy at this time. If you're having any thoughts about going away to a meditation retreat or a vacation that would allow you to rest on a beach and just let yourself chill out and think deep thoughts, I would very much encourage around the end of January and the beginning of February on the heels of this new moon, because I think that's a very beautiful energy to have so much Aquarius and Pisces. And I'm thinking that I know a couple of people who are pregnant who are supposed to be having babies around that time, and thinking any babies born around that time are going to be pretty special on a spiritual level, but also very intense around energies and their psychic/nervous system field. So continuing to, build what Pisces is into your life. There's no question about that. Now, we also see at this point, we've got a square between Chiron in Aries and Mars in Cancer. So Mars in Cancer is saying, take action. What is your desire energy around nurturing, healing, self-care, care of others? What causes you to feel secure emotionally? And Chiron says, do what you want to do, be yourself, be independent, be free. So those two energies are naturally in a square with each other that say you need a creative solution to bring them together. You're going to take action around nurturing and love, but at the same time, hold open that you get to do what you want to do, and you find a healthy way to be self-oriented. We still have the trine sextile with Uranus to South Node and North Node. So it's, as we said earlier, it's getting ready to move forward, but still kind of holding that position of how can you get yourself unstuck. And Jupiter is, still feeding into the Aquarian energy. So that's pretty much all month that as the Aquarian energy is building, Jupiter is saying, what do I need to learn? What do I need to know? How can I expand and synthesize my knowledge base? With Jupiter, you study lots of different things and you bring it together in your own way. And I know many of you who are studying to be astrologers or already are astrologers, you're also artists and healers and other aspects of service and healing. And this continuation of Jupiter in Gemini, which goes to, I think it's early July before it shifts into Cancer. We have approximately the first half of 2025 where we are all working with cultivating our sense of meaning, looking at other people and why they have a different sense of meaning, why they disagree with us, trying to make sense of it, and continuing to expand our philosophical energies. Whew. So this is a power-packed month. I feel like overall we can make good use of all of this energy. And I will turn it over now to some questions and to work with some charts for those of you who are here in person. You'll see here on this slide that Kepler College is having a symposium in Niagara Falls in September that I will be speaking at. Some of these other groups that you can attend. I think especially, the Saturn Neptune in Aries workshop. It's like a 5-hour workshop I'm doing online for the Astrological Society of Connecticut. If you're interested in how to work with Saturn and Neptune as they come into Aries in your own chart, that'll be a great workshop to sign up for. And also, I want to point out, I'm really excited about the 9-month astrosynthesis workshop group that if you've taken astrosynthesis or psychosynthesis with me, it will be a practical process group where we're working with healing different aspects of self, using the chart as a base, and also psychosynthesis processes and meditations, and lots of connection to learn how to do those processes as well as to receive them and experience the healing that's possible. So thank you for sharing this with me, and let's move to questions and charts.